Welcome back, everybody, to the Married with Wrestling podcast, where we go over the major events of North American wrestling over the last week for WWE, AEW, and NXT. I'm Chris. This is Susan. And it's one of my favorite times of the year. It's Money in the Bank time. And actually, at the time this video comes out, Money in the Bank was yesterday. So if you're looking for a Money in the Bank recap, that's not us. We're recapping everything that led up to Money in the Bank. All right, so let's go ahead and start with Money in the Bank because that's, the big event this weekend up in Toronto. So we've got a 5-match card, which WWE's pay-per-views are so easy to digest anymore. They're like 5 to 6 matches. They're usually 3 hours. If it's a big show, 4 hours at the most. They're very, very easy to digest these days. I think you would agree with that. Mm-hmm. Plus the fact they're on Saturday. Which makes it really, really nice as well. But let's dive right in. So what we'll do is we'll kind of look at what led up to what's going on at Money in the Bank when it comes to what happened this week. And we'll make our predictions for Money in the Bank. So let's start with the match that I forgot yesterday, so that way I don't forget it today. Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. So on Raw, Braun Breaker definitely got the upper hand. He hit Sami with a spear. Of course, he cut Sami right in half. Yeah. He did his little spot where he runs all the way around. And I like the camera shot they do, too, where it kind of pans up and you can see him make his way around. Mm-hmm. It looks really cool. And it's something that's definitely specific to Braun and Ludwig Kaiser are both the ones that seem to get to use it.
Yeah.
So this match, actually, I'm not really sure who's going to win. On the one hand, I feel like it's early for Sami to lose after beating somebody like Gunther. But on the other hand, they're definitely building Braun Breaker for something significant.
Yeah.
Like, his whole storyline is, you didn't put me in King of the Ring. And these are the consequences for that. I'm going to murder everybody on your roster.
Yeah.
And Braun Breaker's killed it since he's come up. If you've been watching the show, it's no secret. I'm a huge Braun Breaker fan. Anytime Braun Breaker's on my screen and he's in wrestling gear, I know I'm in for a good time because I know he's going to cut somebody in half. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I kind of am leaning towards Sami, but I think if him and Braun run it back at SummerSlam, I could see Braun taking it at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I agree.
You agree?
I think, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely see that. Or, it could be, this kind of seems the way wrestling goes these days. I could also see Sami Zayn doing the Rocky story, since they always push him as WWE's Rocky. He won the title in Philly and all of that. And Braun Breaker could be his Clubber Lang. So I know you haven't seen the Rocky movie. So basically,
I have no clue what you're talking about.
At the beginning of Rocky 3, Rocky's the champ. And there's this underground boxer named Clubber Lang, played by Mr. T, who's making his way up through the ranks, and he's just decimating everybody. And he finally makes it to Rocky. He calls out Rocky on somewhere in Philadelphia, where Rocky's doing a press conference, and Clubber Lang calls him out. And we get to that match, and Clubber Lang just beats the absolute shit out of Rocky. Just beats him into the ground, takes his title. And then the entire plot of Rocky 3 is Rocky getting with Apollo Creed to try to build himself back up to fight and take the title back to Clubber Lang. But I don't think we're going to do all of that, but I could see Braun just killing Sami Zayn in the beginning, but I don't think they're going to go that route. Let's go with the 6-man tag match next. So we've got Cody, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton against Solo, and it's looking like, based on the graphic, it's going to be Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know, because they didn't do that thing where they give somebody the upper hand.
Mm-hmm.
What?
If you don't have that, you have nothing to go on.
Yeah. I feel like it's probably going to be... I feel like it's going to be the Bloodline.
I feel like the Bloodline has to win here to legitimize themselves in this feud. I have seen a lot of people think that Solo will pin Cody to set up their SummerSlam match. I don't disagree with that outcome. I think that's pretty likely. What I am excited for is I would bet any amount of decent money we're going to see Roman at SummerSlam. And the pop's going to be insane. With the murder of Paul Heyman last week and the Mafia-style promo that Solo did last night, this story's going to come to a head, and it's really exciting. And what I think is going to be exciting about it, and what I think we should do with it is I think we're going to tell this story without the title. I don't think Cody's going to drop it to Solo.
Yeah, they don't need the title.
No, they don't need to wrap the title up in that story again. They can let Cody go on, and a lot of people want Cody to feud with Randy Orton for it. And Randy Orton keeps eyeing the title whenever they're hanging out together, so I could totally see that being the story. A lot of people think that Orton should be the SummerSlam match. I think Roman coming back, causing Solo to lose to Cody would be better. But I don't know that Roman comes back until after the match. But I think when he comes back, I think he brings Paul Heyman, and I think he brings Jimmy Uso. I think that's the direction we're heading.
Well, we know Jimmy can't come back today. Or can't come back to Money in the Bank.
No, Jay made it over the border, though.
Yeah, Jay made it over the border, but Jimmy cannot. Because they kept making jokes about Jay making it over the border.
Yeah. So, we're both in agreement then that the Bloodline's going to take that match? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then we have the World Heavyweight title match. We have Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest. So this one's
I think Seth's winning.
You think Seth's winning?
I don't see Damian being like... I don't know. There's just stuff going down with the Judgment Day.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I guess maybe he should win it. Like, Damian should win it. I don't know, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Seth is going to win because I don't feel like Damian's meant to be champ long.
It definitely doesn't feel like he's in for a long reign. I feel like Gunther's leaving SummerSlam with it no matter who it is.
Yeah.
What I see happening, my personal prediction, is I think Rollins beats Priest here because I think the story of Priest having to distance himself away from the Judgment Day is going to tell a compelling story. I think it's going to set up nice for Rhea Ripley to come back to try to mend things.
Well, she also has Dom and Liv.
Yeah, the Judgment Day's got a lot going on.
They do.
Their Judgment Day is a Judgment Day is a third of Raw right now, but I don't mind it because everybody's got different stories going on within that group, and plus any exposure to Judgment Day Carlito is a win. I love Carlito as like the Judgment Day outsider trying to make his way in and trying to like ingratiate himself with the group. It's one of my favorite things to watch right now because it's just funny. Like there's no dramatics to it. It's just funny. But that being said, this match has the potential to go a lot of different directions because if Rollins loses, I think Rollins goes back on vacation. Which would be
know about that.
You don't think so?
I don't think if he loses, he's going to go back on vacation. He just got back. He's not Roman Reigns.
Yeah. But I also think that the way this stipulation has been set up, with if Rollins loses, he can't challenge again while Priest is champ.
Is good.
I think that's a good setup to do a quick little feud before you start building with Gunther. Because this match is pretty much who's going to take it to SummerSlam and get killed by Gunther. Mm-hmm. I think Rollins is more likely. I think Rollins as a transitional champ here works because if you want to keep Gunther heel, I don't think you put him up against Damian Priest.
Yeah.
So we'll see. My gut tells me Rollins is going to win and be a transitional champ, but at the same time, I do see Priest getting to SummerSlam.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. It's a toss-up. What are you leaning?
Seth.
Okay. Speaking of, we haven't seen him since he was like, fuck Cody, I quit. We haven't seen him since. Maybe he quit. I don't know. So now we have the Money in the Bank ladder matches. So first we have the women. So for the women, we have Zoe Stark, we have Lyra Valkyria, we have Chelsea Green, we have Naomi, we have Tiffany Stratton, and we have Io Sky. There we go.
I want Chelsea Green to win, but I feel like Tiffany Stratton's going to win.
I think it's one of those two.
I really want Chelsea Green to win because she's such a shithead. Chelsea
Green needs to win so she could be the first to fail. 100%. I think Chelsea Green herself would agree with that. That is, if Chelsea doesn't win, I think Tiffany Stratton's winning. Io Sky just won it. Zoe Stark, they kind of go off and on with. She's up in that partnership with Shayna, which is fine. It works. And then we've got. I wonder if we're going to have Zoe Stark interact with Trish Stratus any.
I don't know.
That'd be interesting. Since Trish Stratus is hosting.
Yeah.
I don't think Naomi's winning. That just doesn't seem like a Naomi thing. So I think it's got to be Stratton or Green.
Yeah.
It's got to be one of those two, and I'm really pulling for Chelsea Green. Really pulling for that. On the men's side of things, we have... I do it by show, it's easier. So we have Jey Uso.
Drew.
We have Drew McIntyre. We have Chad Gable. We have LA Knight. Andrade. And...
Carmelo Hayes.
Okay. I think also, just like the women's, I think there's two possible winners here. I think it's going to be either Jey Uso or Drew McIntyre. I think are the two that are going to win this match. But what makes it interesting is they have the potential to overbook this thing all the hell. Because everybody in there, with the exception of maybe Andrade, has somebody that would stop them from winning.
Yeah.
So you've got, Drew McIntyre. You've got CM Punk in the wings that's always ready to screw Drew McIntyre over in some way or another. Jey Uso, the bloodline's always a factor with Jey Uso. I don't think they're going to put their business in Jey Uso at this point. I think Jey Uso comes back later, probably closer to Survivor Series, is when Jey Uso starts associating with his family again, I think. So Jey Uso kind of has the clearest path of everybody, I think. As far as who's being pushed, he was the first to declare. I really think that if it's not Drew, it's Jey Uso that's winning. LA Knight is going to get fucked over by Logan Paul. What are the Wyatt Six going to do to Chad Gable? That's a question, too. And I love that Chad Gable has really leaned into this, back from the dead kind of deal. The miracle guy. I just really enjoy Chad Gable, and I love that he's a fixture every week.
Yeah.
I love it. Carmelo, he just got to the main roster. I don't see it being his time yet.
Yeah.
Andrade kind of just got into the match from what seemed like out of left field. So I don't really think it'll be him either. So I think it's Jey or Drew. But I think both ladder matches are going to slap, and it's going to make for a fun show.
Yeah.
I think if Drew does win, because it's been announced, Rollins and Priest are main eventing. So I think if Drew wins, I think Drew's cashing in that night. Because he even said in his promo, he'll leave Toronto World Heavyweight Champion. He didn't say Money in the Bank. He said, I'm leaving champ.
Yeah.
So I think it would be interesting if it was a role reversal where Priest beats Rollins and then Drew cashes in on him, like a mirror of WrestleMania, just switch Drew and Priest. But we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be an interesting show. Money in the Bank's usually a good time. It's usually all fun and games till they get the briefcase, and then when they get the briefcase, it's either great or it just kind of peters out. It's hard to tell. I thought this past year, both briefcases were used really well. Especially when you look at how much over a cliff it sent Drew McIntyre.
Agreed. Well, what's the next match, though?
That's it. That's all 5 matches. Okay. That's the whole card.
Okay.
That's the entire Money in the Bank card. Like I said, 3.5 hours, easy to digest, no problem. Okay, so let's flip over to AEW. And I gotta give AEW credit. The past couple weeks, leading into Forbidden Door, it's been really hard to find things to talk about with AEW. However, this week, I have 4 things written down, not including Forbidden Door. So AEW, I feel like, came out this week swinging. So, for starters, Forbidden Door was a really, really fun show. It typically is. I mean, saying AEW knocked a pay-per-view out of the park is like saying water's wet at this point. Pay-per-views is where AEW excels because they don't
have to do stories.
No, they do the match. They do what they want to do. They put on the fantastic 4-star matches. That's their heyday.
Yeah.
But I will say, there was a few matches that could have been considered match of the night. My match of the night was probably Swerve and Will Ospreay.
That was good. Yeah.
That was freaking excellent.
I mean, nothing. Forbidden Door was a week ago, and I know it was a good show, but nothing sticking out in my head is standing out. But so I couldn't even tell you my favorite match at this point because it's been so long. But I know it was good.
I tell you also what Forbidden Door did. Another memorable moment. Stephanie Vacker in her Mercedes Moné match fucking killed it.
Yeah, she was much better than Mercedes.
She did look a lot better than Mercedes in that match. And that's coming from somebody that's been a Mercedes fan for a long time.
It's a shame that Mercedes had to win it. Clearly Stephanie was the more talented one.
I don't disagree. Disagree. I've seen a lot of people online that are like, Tony, go get her. That's a good addition.
Yeah. Well, before he brings other women in, he needs to learn how to book his women better.
I actually have that written down. I do think AEW's women's booking has gotten better. I think the women's stories are actually some of the better told stories right now.
It's not hard to make good stories when you have no stories to begin with.
It is. I mean, I know it's not raising the bar very high, but I'm just saying, I do feel like it's different. I feel like the Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale story, that's a feud that's being told without a title. Tony's not known for doing that with the women. And it's a good story at that.
It is.
And it makes sense.
Yeah.
The Tony Storm, Mariah May, Mina Shirakawa stuff, that was a really fun story. And now they're all friends. Friendship won at the end.
Yeah.
That match also ended up being pretty good. I don't think it was as good as Mercedes and Stephanie Vacker, but it was still really, really good.
Yeah.
Britt Baker's back. And Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné cut a promo on Dynamite. And I gotta hand it to them. After one promo, yeah, I want to see those two fight. Mm-hmm. They did a really good job. I've missed Britt's mic skills.
I know I'm being miss negative right now, but Mercedes is not good on the mic.
She's not.
So Britt Baker killed it. Mercedes Moné, I struggle through her promos and shit.
Mm-hmm. That's always been. I feel like her best promo days were as a heel in NXT.
Yeah. I
feel like that's where she shined the most in her promos. Her and Bayley were a lot of fun during the pandemic too.
Yeah.
But I think Bayley was just as much a part of that as Mercedes was.
Yeah.
But yeah, Britt Baker's back. I'm ready for those two to have a match. They're going to fight it all in. If Britt Baker's 100% healthy, I'm interested to see what happens because Britt Baker always seemed like she kind of slowed everybody down. But she's also had those lingering back issues. Yeah. So if she's 100% healthy now, and if she's been working on it,
she's had mental health issues.
And she's had mental. Yeah, she had a lot that she was going through, which, she didn't put anything out there. Mm-mm. No, I don't think anybody knew the extent of what was going on. Like, she was having a mini stroke. Like, that's scary stuff. I know people that have TIAs. That's scary stuff.
Yeah.
So good for Britt on getting back. And like I said, I didn't realize until she cut the promo against Mercedes, because when she first came back, I was kind of like, this is cool, but I feel like all the women have surpassed her. And then Britt spoke again, and I was like, oh yeah, Britt's the best talker they have in the women's division.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, nobody is better at talking in the women's division right now than Toni Storm. Toni Storm is just the complete package for me right now.
Yeah, but Toni Storm, I put Toni Storm in a different category than Britt Baker, because Britt Baker is supposed to be more of like a realistic character, and Toni Storm is definitely off the reservation.
But they're still characters.
They are, but I don't look at them in the same light.
I do, and I think Toni Storm is much better than her, but I will say Britt Baker is good on the microphone, but to me, Toni Storm is like the best one right now.
Okay, fair enough. Also with AEW, we've got Blood and Guts coming up. Our first person for Team AEW is Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe in a Blood and Guts match? Yeah, I'm ready for that. Mm-hmm. For sure. That is going to be... I'm excited for that. Jon Moxley doesn't fit into the Blood and Guts match this year. Mark Briscoe is a great person to have in there if you're not having Jon Moxley. Mm-hmm. For sure. And I love the Mark Briscoe push. I said it in the last video. I know what the Ring of Honor World title means to him. I understand why he has it. Get it off of him and let him chase AEW gold.
Yeah.
Let him do it. I think he would be a great person to dethrone Jack Perry when we get there. Mm-hmm. I think that'd be really good for Mark Briscoe. And that's not even all that happened. Hangman Page is back. Hangman Page was the wild card against Jeff Jarrett on Dynamite. Mm-hmm. We don't know what Hangman Page is doing because the Elite seemed excited to see him, and he did not seem excited to see the Elite. I love that whenever he was out there fighting Jeff Jarrett, he was kind of feeding into and responding to the Swerve's House chants. I think Hangman and Swerve is one of my favorite feuds that AEW's done in the past year.
Yeah.
I think that's the feud that made Swerve where he's at. I was a fan of Swerve beforehand, but I think that's the one where the crowd was like, yeah, that's our dude.
Yeah.
Right there. And I think we're going to get Swerve and Hangman at All In. I just get that feeling that they're doing that at All In. Because it's a big feud. I think it makes sense to do it. Mm-hmm. But we don't know where Hangman lies. Hangman's definitely changed his character. He has a different video package. He has a different music. Mm-hmm. And he's definitely like a darker Hangman. So I'm interested to see what he does there.
Yeah.
The Elite tried to recruit him to be the fifth man for Blood and Guts, and he pretty much told him to go pound sand. Mm-hmm. So I'm still interested to see who the Elite gets as number 5. leading into the Blood and Guts match. And then the other big story that AEW did, this one, I'm not 100% sure why it happened, but it kind of felt like it was coming anyway. And that's MJF's heel turn. So MJF was in Danny Garcia's corner in his match with Will Ospreay on Dynamite, which was a freaking excellent match. Danny Garcia can go.
Well, MJF came back a heel.
Do you think he's been back as a heel? Do you think he's been a heel the whole time?
I think he came back as a heel.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Okay. Why do you think is it just like the way he's carried himself, or?
I can't remember what he said in his promo, but the stuff he said in his promo told me that he came back a heel.
So for you were just waiting for this.
I knew it was going to happen, yeah.
Okay, alright. It took me a little bit more by surprise. I thought he was going to be back a little bit more before he decided a direction to go. But now that you say that, I do see the signs were there. I agree with you on that. But he turned heel by beating the absolute piss out of Danny Garcia. Mm-hmm. And I hope somebody has something for Danny Garcia at All In, because the way that he built it up, the fact that he said his mom was there, and all of that, I hope Danny Garcia has something going on at All In. I don't know if it's MJF. I kind of feel like they're kind of building towards Ospreay and MJF at All In for the international title. But at the same time, MJF going for a mid-card title in AEW kind of gives me the same vibe as if Cody Rhodes would go for a mid-card title in WWE. It feels, I hate to use this term, but it almost feels beneath him. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that way?
No, I don't.
You don't? Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
On which end? On both or for MJF?
For MJF, because Ospreay has it. There's no way in hell Ospreay's a mid-card champ.
Okay. When you put it like that, that's fair. When you put it like that, that makes sense. Okay. All right. So basically, there's two camps right now. There's the camp of people saying that the international title is below Will Ospreay because he's a main event player with a mid-card title. And then there's the other camp, which I think you fall in, is that having Will Ospreay is helping the international championship feel more legit.
Yeah.
It seems like you're in camp B.
Yeah. And I don't really pay attention to what's a mid-card title, what isn't a mid-card title. I don't really pay attention to that anyway. Mm-hmm. So.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
The title's a title to me. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So yeah, AEW, I gotta give AEW credit. We've been very negative on AEW the past few weeks. Mm-hmm. AEW came out of Forbidden Door swinging. They took some big creative swings this week.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see where they go. I hope it stays consistent. AEW's done this before, where they come out and they swing really big, and the stories just peter out. So I'm not going to get my hopes up, but I am going to acknowledge that coming out of Forbidden Door, AEW definitely seems to be coming out swinging, and definitely seems to be hurtling towards All In, which is their big event now. This is All In's kind of become their WrestleMania. They promote it as an all-year thing like WWE does with Mania. Mm-hmm. This definitely seems to be their Mania, and I don't doubt that it's probably going to be an amazing show, but it's going to be even more amazing if we tell some good stories to get there. And AEW has got till the end of August to start building these stories. So, on the one hand, I'm excited for that because AEW was telling its best stories when its pay-per-views were spread out. But on the other hand, that's a lot of time to build a fun story, to have it come to an anticlimactic conclusion, for someone in that story to get a match announced for All In a week before All In.
See, I feel like AEW did better whenever their pay-per-views are more spread out.
I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I do too. I miss the spread out pay-per-views. I know why they did it for the money-wise, but I know I miss it, and I know my wallet misses the sparse pay-per-views.
And AEW just isn't keeping me entertained enough to want to watch a pay-per-view every month by them. Mm-hmm. It's sometimes torture for me to watch all of wrestling because AEW is just not doing that. It's not keeping me entertained right now. I
have also seen people say that AEW, now that they have more frequent pay-per-views, can scale back the amount of matches on their shows. They don't have to cram them full, because originally they would cram them because they wanted fans to get their money's worth. Mm-hmm. Well, now you have a pay-per-view every month. You don't need to stack the card with 12 matches. per pay-per-view. I mean, I don't think you need to go the WWE route of, 5 matches, but 8's probably a good number. 7 to 8.
Yeah.
Especially at the length that AEW likes to do their matches. I think 7 to 8.
Because AEW doesn't want to do stories, so of course they're going to have more matches.
Yeah. But we'll see. Maybe they finally turn the corner. We'll see. We'll see the build up to All In.
Well, I'm feeling pretty pessimistic today. So
you
I'm
do
gonna
seem
say,
like you're pessimistic.
I'm going to say that they probably haven't. They're just having a couple good weeks. Tony Khan was booking pretty well those couple weeks. I don't think it's going to be a change, but we shall see.
I do know one thing that you and I have both enjoyed that I know is kind of a hot button topic online. I really enjoy Shithead Okada. Yeah. I really love the work Okada's doing with the Elite.
Okay, let's not get it twisted. The only reason people are anti-Okada right now is because he's with the Elite. And they hate the Bucks.
Okay, fair enough.
That's the only reason why they're hating Okada, because they're little crybabies.
I know, because I think Okada's killing it.
I know.
His middle finger, his look at disgust in the crowd.
Yes,
the fact that he looks like he'd rather be anywhere else.
If I can get over how my hatred for he who should not be named, then you can get over your fucking hatred for the Bucks. Come on.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment.
Because you know how much I hate Punk.
Yeah.
But I still watch his shit.
Yeah,
I might not acknowledge that I like him, but I'll still watch his shit because I'm not a child.
Yeah. I know you really like the stuff Drew's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just grow up.
So in addition to Money in the Bank, WWE also has NXT Heatwave this weekend. And actually, by the time this video comes out, Heatwave won't have happened yet. Money in the Bank will, but Heatwave won't. So, elevator speech every week. If you're not watching NXT, do it. It's good. It's a lot of fun. It's experimental. But what we're going to do now is we're going to run down the Heatwave card, and we'll make our predictions for Heatwave. So let's start with the North America Championship. So we've got Kalani Jordan versus Sol Ruka.
I think Kalani's winning.
I think Kalani's winning. I don't know how I feel about Kalani as North American champion.
I was just going to say that. I feel like there could have been somebody stronger for the first one.
I definitely feel like I have said that Fallon Henley, I would have given it to Fallon Henley. Because I think a title like that, I think would start out... I understand why they didn't give it to a heel, because Roxanne's a heel. But at the same time, Kalani's just kind of... I like Kalani. She's just a little on the bland side.
Who would your pick be?
For right now?
Instead of Kalani, who would your pick have been?
Fallon Henley.
I would have picked Sol Ruka.
Sol Ruka? Okay, that would have been a good babyface champ. I think Kalani has the least amount of personality out of them. And that's not taking anything... Kalani's good in the ring. But I just think she's a little bit of plain Jane personality-wise. Now, someone that's definitely on my radar as somebody who should dethrone her is Jada Parker. Jada Parker's that girl. I think Jada Parker's going to be huge in NXT.
Yeah.
I hate to say it's nothing personal against these guys. I think they've got to get her away from OTM. I just
don't care about Out the Mud.
Yeah, I mean, they're decent enough wrestlers. I'm just not into it.
Yeah.
It's like Gallus. They're good in the ring. They're just not very entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
I hate to say that because I know...
Which is crazy, because I used to love that. On NXT UK, Wolfgang?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Zen Gallus? I loved him on the NXT UK.
And then he got with Gallus, and it was just kind of like... I don't know, it's bad. Even Gallus' music comes on, and I start to feel tired. I don't know. It's really bad.
We made a joke out of it now, though. We're like, oh, it's Gallus.
Yeah, that's true.
Thanks, Vicky Gumbelson, for the fake sleep.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think Kalani Jordan's winning this. But I kind of wonder what Sol Ruka's going to do.
She's going to snatch a soul.
I'm wondering,
I know.
If Sol Ruka is going to take that well if she loses.
I was making a joke.
She might snatch Kalani's soul out of anger. She might. I think Kalani wins here. I don't think Kalani's going to win it and then lose it in a month.
No.
Unless they feel like that they made a mistake giving it to her, but I don't think they did.
Yeah.
Next is North American Championship, Obafemi and Wesley.
I think
Obafemi should win, and Wesley needs to do something else with his life.
I feel like that's what we're going with because Obafemi said that he couldn't challenge him anymore.
Yeah. I think Wesley would be a great next challenger for Trick, a heel Wesley at that.
Yeah.
They kind of teased that before he got injured and went away.
Yeah.
So I kind of think we should go back to that well.
Yeah.
Give Wesley some people, give him a stable to work with because he's always by himself. And from what you've told me, I don't know anything about the Rascals really, but you know. So
I've watched
did
them a
he
few
work
times.
well in a stable?
Yeah, they were just stoners.
Yeah.
That's
all I know about it is they do this because Wesley still does it. It's the only thing I know about them.
They kind of did that, like that 70s show vibe. They'd sit around a table and they would just be smoking. They'd just smoke everywhere.
Or Netflix WWE might be able to do that.
Yeah.
Man, I'm excited for Netflix WWE. Pat McAfee and Triple H will come out and said the content's getting edgier and there's no censoring. Let's freaking go.
Yeah, screw kids. No, I'm kidding.
On the one hand, I see what you mean, but on the other hand, because of the investment with kids,
You're always saying that because Cody Rhodes.
No, well, it was Cody adjacent.
Of course, yes.
It's Cody adjacent. We don't have the brilliant footage of the children crying after The Rock killed Cody Rhodes.
I mean, I get it, but like,
but you don't want the whole program to be. I think it's getting away from that.
It is.
It feels like a more adult product.
It was literally to the point where I didn't like to go to live events for WWE because it was just Kid City. Mm-hmm. And I was just kind of like, I don't come here, I don't watch wrestling for the children. Like,
yeah. So next is the NXT Tag Team Championship match. So we've got Axiom and Fraser against Chase U. And there's a little bit of dissension on both sides. So Fraser can't focus on the tag titles, which is really starting to get to Axiom.
yeah.
He chased the Heritage Cup with Tony D, and then he's on Speed also. The show, not Speed, not Speed, but he is fast. And Axiom just wants to defend his damn titles. Like, he's just happy being tag champ. But I do think these two are going to end up imploding at some point. I think the match that comes out of it's going to be a ton of fun. Axiom and Fraser both are really fun to watch in the ring. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Chase U's the one that gets them, because Chase U's got their own problems going on, because Ridge Holland cheated, and it didn't sit well with Chase U, even though Duke Hudson was about to upend the whole school a few months ago.
And literally, what was it? Professor Chase, what's his name?
Andre Chase.
Andre Chase literally did some, fraudulent things to get money.
I mean, it would make sense if he's, overly about doing the right thing because he got caught before.
He literally, frauded money.
Yeah.
He has no room to yell at somebody for cheating.
In a match.
No.
So, Ridge has to stay home. I don't think Ridge stays home. I think Ridge might accidentally screw Chase U. I think that might be where we're heading.
Yeah.
I don't know who Axiom and Fraser drop it to, but I do know two things. I don't want it to be Gallus, and I don't want it to be the Good Brothers.
And something else about Chase U that I noticed the last episode, Thea Hale is just way too young to have all that makeup on that she does, because they make it look like she's in her 40s, and and it's just kind of like, why do you put that much makeup on her? But that's just my little pet peeve.
Okay, fair enough.
If she's going to be close up on camera, let's not let her face look cakey.
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
So, who do you got? Axiom or Fraser or Chase U?
I think actually Axiom and Fraser. I don't think Chase U's winning.
Okay.
Who did you pick?
I think so. Be Axiom and Fraser.
Oh.
I don't think Chase U's winning either. I think Ridge is going to fuck him over. So the women's championship match, we have Roxanne Perez versus Lola Vice.
I think Perez is winning.
I think Perez is winning. I get what Lola was going for this week with her mom promo, but it felt very
fake.
Yeah, it did. And then it didn't help that Kevin Owens went on SmackDown and did it better. Granted, Kevin Owens had a real event to draw from.
Yeah.
And Kevin Owens, I think, connects with people more than most wrestlers do. I think Kevin Owens is an extremely gifted wrestler. I think he's fantastic. I think he's one of the best. I think he's one of the best to do it. So that's it's not a fair comparison, Lola Vice to Kevin Owens. But yeah, Lola's stuff came across very trying to act. And I think it would have been better if I think Lola
fits better in the I'll just beat your ass category.
Yeah.
I think that's where Lola lives. I think Lola lives in the... I think Lola, with a little polishing, I think Lola can do Ronda Rousey better than Ronda Rousey. That's where I see Lola's...
Yeah.
That's where I see Lola's scope.
Yeah.
But in the ring, she's pretty good. I think her and Perez will put on a good match. I think it'll be better than the promo that they did on Tuesday for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think Perez is dropping the vice. I think Perez is going to drop to somebody that's... She keeps saying nobody in this company, nobody in this company. I think she's going to drop it to somebody that they end up signing. And I wonder if they end up signing Jordan Grace at the end of this TNA deal, and that's who ends up doing it. I don't know either, but they definitely seem high on Perez. I think this is also Perez's last rodeo. Mm-hmm. I think with NXT, I think once she drops that title, a call-up's not going to be very far behind.
Yeah.
And the last one, so the main event, we have Trick. This is an interesting 4 dudes. A very interesting 4 dudes. So we've got Trick Williams defending the NXT title, and we've got him defending it against Shawn Spears, Ethan Page, and Javon Evans. Now they had a like a kind of summit meeting thing on Wednesday between the 4 of them, which I thought was actually a kind of a coming out party for Javon Evans, because I think the other 3 dudes are so much of a bigger personality than he is. Yeah. Trick Williams has a huge personality. Ethan Page is all ego, definitely fits him as far as like his kayfabe personality. Shawn Spears definitely seems to know where he's at. I think Javon Evans at first came across kind of goofy, but I think this segment did a lot for him, and I think Trick and Ethan Page's reactions helped sell it.
Yeah.
And Javon told Trick at the end of it, he was like, "Look, you're my dog, but I'm coming for that title."
Yeah.
So I think this segment on Wednesday did the most for Javon Evans.
Yeah.
I think the match is going to be a lot of fun. I don't think Trick Williams is dropping here. I think Ethan Page is going to end up going into a feud with Metaphor, because they definitely are teasing him and Ora Mensa.
Yeah.
I hope Ethan Page makes his way back around to a big title like that, because I think Ethan Page is worth it. But I could see them being like, okay, let's have you do some other things, and then we'll bring you back. Mm-hmm. Shawn Spears, I think from here, Shawn Spears just tends to just find people to feud with, and it works out for him.
Yeah.
And Javon Evans is, in the promo, they made a big deal about, like, oh, he's only 20 years old, he's only 20 years old. I'm going to say the same thing. He's only 20 years old, but I'm not going to say it because I don't think he's going to be good in the match. I'm going to say it because he's got a bright future, and I think they have a numerous amount of things they can do with him. I think it would be really fun to maybe have him chase Obafemi. If he doesn't get the NXT title here, which I don't think he will, I think he would be a great challenger for Obafemi. I think Obafemi would be an excellent base for him to do his bouncy stuff, as he puts it.
Yeah.
That's a match that I would love to see, is Obafemi and Javon Evans.
Yeah.
And maybe Javon's the one that takes Oba down. Maybe that's where we go.
Yeah.
But that being said, I just had a thought. If that happens, and then we could start maybe building Oba versus Trick Williams, now that's a feud. That's a feud right there. And I think if that happened, I think Oba would be the one to dethrone Trick.
I don't know. I mean, I get that Oba's good, but I don't think he's good. I don't think he should be good enough to beat Trick Williams.
Not now, but let's say in 6 months. But yeah, that's Heatwave. So that also is going to be a really fun show. Another 5-match show. NXT Premium Live events usually go about 2.5 hours. So even though it's on a Sunday, it's still not going to keep you up past your bedtime. Especially since they start at 7.
Yeah.
WWE's pay-per-view model really works for you because they start at 7. Mm-hmm. Half of them are during the day because they're going international, and they always do it on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like WWE, you have
AEW
so much of an
needs
easier
to
time.
learn. Don't do 8 p.m. on a Sunday with 500 matches.
I have seen people say that AEW would benefit a lot from just bumping their start time up an hour.
Yeah. You'd still have the same amount of matches, but oh my god. Mm-hmm. I'm usually half asleep by the end of the by like the end of the show.
Which is sad because that's usually where the best matches live.
It is, but Tony, not all of us have your habits where we stay awake. Like,
yeah.
I need my sleep. So.
Yeah, not all of us have the... what is it with eccentric wrestling billionaires and keeping odd hours? Like, Vince was the same way.
But that might just be like wrestlers themselves, though, because they're travel.
That's true. That's very true.
Because they're kind of night owls.
Yeah, because like I don't know if it's because of what he does, like what's involved with his job. Every time I see Triple H, he looks exhausted. Like he just looks. So, I mean, he brings the energy, but he just looks so tired. It would have to be stressful to be Triple H. Yeah. Luckily for him, he had the talent pool to be able to. He just put a couple things together, and he far exceeded what Vince was doing.
Yeah.
Tony Khan has a harder job. But
he has the talent.
He has the talent to work with. He just needs somebody. His guys shouldn't be coming up with their own stories. Own characters, yes.
Yeah.
Moments, sure. Spots in matches, absolutely.
Yeah.
Stories is where it's lacking. Stories is where he needs help.
Yeah, especially because all wrestlers, it's well known they all have egos.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they have to have an ego
Yeah.
to succeed in wrestling.
Yeah. And from what's come out about it, like where Ethan Page said it was essentially chaos as compared to WWE, it's very organized. Mm-hmm. I can see where it's hard to thrive in that environment if you're not an MJF, a Will Ospreay, a Jay White.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to stand out in that kind of environment.
Yeah.
But I think I agree with you. Tony's absolutely got the talent. We just need somebody to write the stories for sure. So that's going to do it for this week for Money in the Bank weekend. So make sure you find us on the socials at Married with Wrestling on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure to like and comment. You know, if there's something you want us to comment on or something that you want to point out, make sure you subscribe. That helps the channel. Otherwise, go enjoy wrestling. There's a plethora of it out there. I'm sure somebody could find something they connect with. And we will talk to you guys next week.
Later.